I remember the first time I stood in a crowded classroom, trembling inside my skin. My hands were sweaty, my throat dry, and my heart raced like a wild horse. The teacher had asked me to read a passage aloud from our English textbook. Simple words stared back at me, yet they felt like mountains I could never climb. I opened my mouth, but what came out was broken, shaky, and full of pauses. My classmates giggled. A few whispered. Some smiled in pity. At that moment, I felt small, invisible, and weak. I wanted the floor to open up and swallow me whole. That day became a wound in my heart. Every time I heard fluent English speakers on TV, every time I saw classmates chatting confidently in English, that wound bled. I thought I would never be like them. I thought English was only for the gifted, the privileged, the ones born into it. And I, someone with a simple background, no fancy schools, no extra help, would never belong in that world. If you believe in kindness, in second chances, and in the power of transformation, then please pause for a moment. Like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel Kindness Pulse. Your support will keep stories like this alive, stories that show how even the weakest voices can one day roar. The truth is, learning English wasn't just about grammar, vocabulary, or speaking. It was about identity. It was about dignity. It was about looking into the mirror and believing I was enough. But the road to fluency was long, lonely, and full of nights where I cried in silence. There were times I almost gave up, but life has a strange way of pushing us when we are close to surrender. In the beginning, my attempts were clumsy. I bought an old dictionary with worn-out pages, and I would spend hours memorizing words that I couldn't even pronounce correctly. I sat with English storybooks, trying to force meaning out of sentences that made little sense to me. Sometimes I would sit under a dim light bulb, repeating one sentence again and again until my lips ached. My family didn't understand why I was torturing myself like this. They thought I was wasting time. But deep inside, I knew, I wasn't just learning a language, I was fighting for a new life. There were failures. Many. I once tried to speak to a foreigner who had come to our neighborhood. I rehearsed my sentences for hours, but when the moment came, my tongue froze. I smiled awkwardly, muttered a word or two, and then walked away ashamed. For days after, I hated myself. I thought I was cursed, incapable of change. But every time I fell, a small voice whispered, "Try again." So I did. I began to use every opportunity life gave me. I watched English movies with subtitles. I listened to songs, writing down every word I could catch. I repeated lines from cartoons like a child mimicking voices. I carried a small notebook everywhere, scribbling phrases on buses, in markets, and even before falling asleep. Slowly, painfully, words began to stick. Sentences started to form. My mind opened. My tongue loosened. The real breakthrough came not from books, but from stories. I discovered graded readers, simple, beautifully written stories made for learners. These books became my companions, my secret teachers. Every evening, I would sit with one, reading aloud, whispering to myself, feeling the rhythm of the language sink into my bones. With every story finished, I felt myself growing, not just in English, but in courage. Months turned into years. And one day, without realizing it, I found myself speaking to a stranger in fluent English. My voice was steady, my words smooth. There was no laughter, no pity, no shame. Instead, there was pride. A pride that no one could take away. I was no longer the trembling child in the classroom. I had become someone new, someone who could walk into a room and be heard. But let me tell you something, this journey was never just about English. It was about resilience. It was about refusing to let failure define me. It was about believing that every broken attempt was a step closer to something beautiful. And if I, someone who once struggled to even pronounce English properly, could stand tall and speak with confidence, then so can you. If this story touched your heart, if it reminded you that no dream is too far when you refuse to give up, then I ask you with all sincerity, engage with this video. Like it, share it with someone who needs encouragement, and subscribe to Kindness Pulse to keep this community of hope alive. Your one small action could be the spark that helps another lost soul believe again. And before we end, I have one special request. Please comment below and share your own journey, whether it's in English, in life, or in finding your voice. Your words might become the inspiration someone else is waiting for.